Hello Marvel Heroes fans, this is a video for the new players and it's about hero synergy. I've got this question a lot, like which hero shall I unlock? And I mean, this game right now has 47 heroes, and sometimes we pick the hero based on whether we are a fan of the comic book or the movie, or sometimes we pick a hero based on whether he or she is strong at the moment or a little bit balanced and fun to play as well. So yeah, that aside, when I was still leveling all my heroes or unlocking heroes, I do something a little bit different. I pick those heroes that can benefit me through the hero synergy system. Now, some of you may or may not aware that when it comes to the power, when you press P for the power, there's one tab called Hero Synergy System. Inside here, any hero that you've gone through level 25 and level 50, you will get some benefit to it, right? For instance, if you level a Black Panther to level 25, you get move speed buff, and after that, you got melee power damage buff as well. And all these are pretty good stuff because you can use it for all your heroes, all right? So you can pick up to 10 of them for each hero you have, and add them together is pretty powerful. So now, this video is really talking about which are the heroes that I found very useful when it comes to the hero synergy system. Those heroes that I've always been using. So I have a set of heroes that I always use for any hero that I unlock, and there are a set of heroes that are very nice to have, and I use it for certain scenario. And there are some heroes that are very much like they're honorable mention, they're good, but they are not as good as the rest that I talk about. So this video is about that. All right. So new players guide, 15 heroes to consider leveling to 50 and beyond. All right. So now I have come up a list of must-have heroes. Now these heroes have great stats, all right, and they're useful for all heroes without exception. So the hero that I'm going to share with you here, I use it for all heroes of mine, all 47 heroes of mine. All right. So the first one on the list is of course Cable. It's a 2% crit chance. 2% crit chance may not seem a lot, but it is about 250 crit hit rating. It has no diminishing return, meaning that it is added on top of whatever crit that you have. So it's wonderful. So if your crit is like maybe 44%, then it becomes 46%. So it's just add on top of that. So it's very good. Hawkeye. I know Hawkeye probably not one of the most enjoyable hero to level. However, there are 4% crit damage, and why it is good is that if you have been following all my video or some of my videos talking about the damage model I share with you, damage always come from two parts of it: the normal damage as well as the so-called the crit and brutal damage side of it. So you multiply them together, become the total damage you have. Now normally your crit damage may be about 300%, your brutal is maybe about 500%, but you don't crit or brutal all the time, so you have a chance to it. So on average, yeah, you are roughly about 250% above the normal damage that you have. All right, so that is on the crit and brutal side. But on the normal side, based on the hero that you have, you may have some plus attribute to it. You may have all the gear with the damage rating gear to it, passive and so on. So all in all, a hero is about 300% to 400% normal damage. So what I really want to try to say is that you probably have more normal damage, higher normal damage than the crit side of it. So 4% crit damage is going to scale up pretty high when it multiply with whatever normal damage you have. And as you can see in the rest of the hero that you have, usually the flat damage maximum they give you about, I think, 4% maximum. 2 to 4% is what you get on the damage rating. So 4% crit damage in short is good. All right. So that is for Hawkeye, and also Mr. Fantastic have another 4% crit damage to it. So the both added together is 8% crit damage. All right. So that is pretty good. It's about 640 crit damage rating. If you are into that number, if you are used to that number, it's about 640 crit damage rating if you add the two. Now the great thing about Mr. Fantastic is that you have a crafting discount 5%. it is a lot because you use it a lot for your, if you swap the blessing, it's 100,000, right? So 100,000, 5% is quite a bit of saving. And also for your costume fixes, when you reroll it on the higher rank one, you spend a lot of credit just to reroll. So that 5% actually is a good saving, and it's applied for all heroes that you have. Alright, so Mr. Fantastic. Now, Wolverine is on the brutal side, 2% brutal chance. Now, what is 2% brutal chance, right? Assuming that your brutal chance without the Hela blessing is about 30%, it is about 300 brutal strike rating. So, then you say, well, what is it, right? So, you pay 400 OD mark to get 20% brutal chance. This is a 2%, so it's a 10% of that. So, yeah, I mean, it is good. Wolverine is good at the brutal side of it. On top of that, you get the 5% brutal damage, which is roughly about 400 brutal strike rating. If you are into that kind of numbers. Sorry, this is a brutal damage rating. Sorry, this is a BDR. All right. So 5% of it is pretty good. It add on the brutal side of it, right? So I think just to recap, we have the Cable, we have Hawkeye, Mr. Fantastic, Wolverine. And the last one that I would like to recommend is Squirrel Girl, because 4% boss damage versus boss is actually pretty good, because many times when you play this game, it is the boss that matter. The rest of it, just the normal mob or some elite mob. Elite mob is not as terrifying as, say, Diablo 3. So yeah, I mean, 4% damage versus boss is about 160 damage rating. And what does that really mean? Okay, so to put things in perspective, you spend more than 100 Omega Pawn just to get the same kind of damage rating versus boss via the spin tag. So yeah, it is quite a big deal. Alright, so these are the 5 that are always used for all hero. Now, honorable mention is Cyclops, because if you are still leveling, I presume because this is for new players, it is a must-have. If you enjoy the game, and if you envisage yourself to keep unlocking hero, because that is what you enjoy doing, 10% XP is fantastic. It helps you to level up so much easier. I mean, at least at the low, if you don't have a lot of heroes, the 10% is quite significant. And also, if you haven't got the capped Omega Pawn, meaning that you don't have 7,500 Omega Pawn yet, the 10% XP is going to help you even when your hero is already at the maximum level. The 10% XP is going to help you to get to that 7,500 Omega Pawns. All right, so just consider that. But for end game, like for me, I'm already capped at the Omega Pawn. I don't use Cyclops anymore, but I only use it if I need to level my new heroes. All right, so these are the 5 to 6 heroes that I always have for all my heroes. Now, the next part of it is very good to have heroes. These are the heroes that have great stats. It is useful to a number of heroes, not all the heroes, but nevertheless, if you just look at the number perspective, they are very good heroes to have. All right, so the first one on the list is Loki is a good honorable mention here, because it has a cost reduction part of it. A lot of time you may play the hero will find that you have a little bit of struggling a little bit of this on the spirit side. Now, it's not a must-have. You can still get by using your med kit. If you are high Omega Pawn, you may have your plus energy or plus strength to help you with the spirit reduction. But by and large, I mean, 5% cost reduction on spirit is pretty good to have. All right. As for the damage against slow, you can't really count on that because the boss can't be slowed. But for the elite and the normal mobs, I guess it has some kind of damage buff to it. All right, so that's Loki. That's good to have. Moon Knight, now 4% physical crit is fantastic. I mean, add that with the Cable's 2%, you are already 6% above whatever diminishing return you have. So for instance, if you struggle and gear your hero up until it is maybe a 44% crit, you add the 6%, bam, 50%, you hit your magic number. All right, so if you are playing, if you intend to play some physical hero, I mean, there's a lot of physical heroes out there. 4% critical physical crit is fantastic. This is beyond the diminishing return, and you won't regret having Moon Knight, because there are quite a lot of physical hero. All right. Then, you know, same for Moon Knight, you have Star-Lord for energy. Now, also in this game, a lot of energy heroes, and 4% energy crit, like I said, 500 crit hit rating at the 44% crit that you currently have. Perhaps, you know, it is wonderful. This is, you know, bar none, really, really good to have. I always have, I always recommend like Moon Knight, Star-Lord, and Ghost Rider, just to cover all the damage type out there. So this is a mental one, so it covers the physical, energy, mental at 4% crit, plus the cable 2%, 6% crit. You know, that goes a long way. Really good stuff to have. All right. So now, so I've talked about some of these heroes that you know, they're great stats. You know, the thing that I really exciting to have it unlocked for my heroes. The rest of it is honorable mention. Now, of course, I can't just talk about all the heroes out there, but these are the heroes that I found that the stats are really attractive on the damage side of it. Damage rating side of it, not necessarily on the crit side of it, it's more of the damage side to it. Now, the first one leading the whole thing is the Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel is having a 4% energy damage. You don't find many heroes in this whole roster that would give you a 4% flat damage increase on any particular type of damage. All right, so 4% for Miss Marvel is fantastic. It's about 160 energy damage rating. All right, if you are into that number itself. Next one is Doctor Strange. For the mental damage is 4% as well. So, you know, I've got you know, I always have the Miss Marvel for any energy hero, and I have mental damage is for the Doctor Strange. All right. So She-Hulk. Now, for physical, there isn't any 4% physical damage at present in the game right now. The best you can get is She-Hulk, actually, 3% physical damage, and it has a kind of like a health regen to it. You can't really count on this to survive, but it's nice to have some health regen, because some of the older hero designs, some just do not have any health regen at all. Right? So physical damage 3%, She-Hulk. Right? Winter Soldier is also wonderful. It has a 3% range and melee. Now, why do I mention about it? Is because there are heroes out there that does both range and melee, like, you know, like Iron Man, like Gambit, like, you know, yeah. So for like Thor, so for all those heroes that you do the two side of it, both the range and melee, this is a very attractive hero to actually use for your synergy, because it gives you a 3% buff on top of whatever you have. All right, so yeah, so that's great. Now, Rocket Raccoon, last on my list. If you play a summoner, I mean, you will eventually get to unlock a summoner somehow, because in this game there are some summoner, and the only way to buff your summon ally damage right now in this game is via Rocket Raccoon. So, you know, pick a Rocket Raccoon, get the summon ally damage, make your Iceman even more fantastic. All right, so I hope that kind of like summed up the whole, you know, 15 heroes for you to level to level to 50s, and I mean, do consider all these 15 heroes in the game. I'll list them up in the YouTube description, so you don't need to keep flipping back and forth this video and see which are the ones. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Any questions, just drop me a note. Till next time we see. Goodbye.